Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people will be well and truly served, and their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it may be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving. A country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality, and inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day for the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, votes and proceedings. 2nd July, page 1. Page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, page 19, page 20. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings, 2nd July, are hereby adopted as true record of the proceedings. Official report, 11th June. Any corrections? In the absence of any corrections, the official report of 11th June is hereby adopted as true record of proceedings. 12th June, official report. Honorable members, in the absence of any corrections, the official report of 12th June is hereby accepted, adopted as true record of proceedings. Business statement. Honorable Majority Chief Whip, in the absence of the Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I present to the House the business statement for the 8th week ending Friday, 10th July 2020, on behalf of the Majority Leader and the Chairman of the Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, the committee met yesterday, Thursday, 2nd July 2020, and arranged business of the House for the 8th week ending Friday, 10th July 2020. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee accordingly submits its report as follows. arrangement of business. Formal communication by the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you may read any available communication to the House. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee has not scheduled any minister for question time during the week. However, subject to the receipt of admitted questions from your good self, particularly questions relating to the road and energy sectors, the affected ministers, subject to their availability, will be programmed to respond to the questions as soon as practicable. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Order 72, ministers of state may be permitted to make statements of government policy, statements duly admitted by Mr. Speaker, may be made in the House by honorable members in accordance with Order 72. Mr. Speaker, bills may be presented to the House for first reading in accordance with Order 120. However, bills of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in one day in accordance with Order 119. Pursuant to Order 75, papers for presentation to the House may be placed on the order paper for laying. Committee reports may also be presented to the House for consideration. The Speaker, motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. Meeting with the Electoral Commission. Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to your directive following the presentation of the business statement last Friday, 26 June 2020, and having regard to discussions on this matter, the office of the Honorable Majority Leader is liaising with the Chairperson of the Electoral Commission to determine a suitable date for the Commission to attend upon the House for a briefing on their work program. Mr. Speaker, mindful of the busy schedule of the Commission, in view of the ongoing registration exercise, a favorable date, as may be agreed upon, will be communicated to honorable members. Sitting of the House on Mondays. Right Honorable Speaker, in order to meet constitutional requirements relating to the coming into force of subsidiary legislations presented to the House, the Business Committee proposes that the House sit on Mondays commencing with Monday 13th July through to Monday 3rd August 2020. Mr. Speaker, the day-by-day business as arranged or proposed by the Business Committee can be found in the annexa to the memorandum that I have read, and I urge the Hansa Department to capture the entirety of it. Mr. Speaker, by way of conclusion, in accordance with Standing Order 162 and subject to Standing Order 53, the committee submits to this Honorable House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week under consideration. I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majority Chief Whip. Any contributions? Yes. Honorable Kudito Blackwan.
Most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I thank the Majority Chief Whip for the presentation of the business statement. I have a few issues to raise very quickly, Mr. Speaker. The first one relates to the presentation of the mid-year budget by the Honourable Minister responsible for Finance. Do we have an indication now on the specific date that has been agreed with the Honourable Minister, so that if Honourable members can be apprised and so we can prepare ourselves accordingly, since it will be done this month of July? The second matter, Mr. Speaker, relates to a directive from the Right Honourable Speaker after he conferred with his colleague speaker in Nigeria. The speaker asked leadership to set up a 3-member committee, 2 from the majority and 1 from this side. I want to know if leadership has followed up on that directive from Mr. Speaker, and if we can be told who has been selected, so that, because it's a very important matter that relates to our Committee of Foreign Affairs, so that we can all track and pursue Mr. Speaker's directive in that regard. The final matter, Mr. Speaker, relates to the matter to do with the number of ministers who are not available at the moment. I know the practice has been that the executive will communicate to us as to who is acting based on what the president has directed. So, for example, do we know who is the acting health minister? This House must know. Who is the acting education minister? Who is the acting minister for regional reorganization? Because of the unfortunate development with this COVID-19, we all empathize. We wish our colleagues speedy recovery. But we must know who is acting, so that in our dealings as a House and as members of Parliament, we know who to direct our concerns to. So do we have that information, and can that be made available so we know who is acting in these official capacities, particularly as these are very important portfolios, the ministries of health, of education, regional reorganization, and other portfolios. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Kujito Ablakwa. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to comment on the business statement. Mr. Speaker, in commenting, I wish to focus on item 3 and 4. Items 3 and 4, which the third one is a meeting with the Electoral Commission. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House is clothed with the necessary powers to invite, to summon.
Honorable, you are talking about the Electoral Commission?
Yes, in reference to the Electoral
Please,
Commission.
what is there to talk about again? Having listened to the Majority Chief Whip and having listened to Honorable Kujito Ablakwa, and with the brilliant suggestion that as soon after the registration is complete, a date should be fixed. And that's the end of that matter. Please say something else. Please, let's get it clear that it is not a matter of seeking views and and debating the business statement. It is a matter of pointing out that which should have been here, which is not here, like those good ones raised earlier, and relevant comments in those kind of suggestions. Please, go on.
Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid it's not a comment.
Then please, when we come to that one, we'll talk about it. Now that one is in the limbo.
Mr. Speaker, the point I was raising is that this House.
Honorable, you will not make the.
Very well. I'll move on.
Say something else.
I'll move on to the fourth one. Mr. Speaker, sittings of the House from 13th July, Monday. Again, we are seeing increasing numbers in the way people are taking part in the registration process. Mr. Speaker, members of Parliament are up and down the country in their various constituencies, aiding in public education. Throughout the country, Mr. Speaker, people are not adhering to social distancing protocols. My appeal is that it will be very useful for members of Parliament to be on the ground in their respective communities to assist in the process of getting their constituents registered, because constituents are not listening to the message and we are almost helpless. So to add mandates when many members of Parliament would not have returned from their respective constituencies may be a bit of a burden. So if the House could kindly take a second look at Monday sittings, at least for the duration of the registration exercise, so that we can spend time in our respective communities. Mr. Speaker, with this, I want to thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, any other? Honorable Majority Chief Whip, if you may please respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first issue raised by Honorable Kujetu Abrapa relates to the presentation of the mid-year budget by the Minister for Finance to the House, and he is asking what date has been scheduled. I think the majority leader is in talks with the Minister for Finance. So when a date is agreed upon, it will be communicated to the House. Mr. Speaker, the constitution of a committee that he also spoke about will be considered, and possibly next week it will be relayed to the House. The question about absence of some ministers at post and who are acting on their behalf or in their stead is not within the purview of the business committee. If the president communicates to the House, it will get to the Speaker, and the Speaker will inform us accordingly. So we should hold our gun at the appropriate time. Mr. Speaker will talk to us or speak to us on that matter. Mr. Speaker, I think Honorable Rasmuber has a point that why are we sitting on Mondays? We have indicated in the memo that I read out to the House that we have to meet the constitutional requirement of 21 sitting days so that some subsidiary legislations will pass. One of them, which is key to the elections for which we are registering, is CI 94, transfer of votes. So if people are registering today in Accra and they want to vote in Kumbungu on the day of the election, how do they get their votes transferred to that? So we can't eat our cake and have it, or have our cake whilst we are eating it at the same time. So the two have to be done to ensure that the right to vote is fully guaranteed to the voter. That is why we have to sit on Mondays. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader. And indeed, like we all recollect, the minority leader did say, when we were looking at this transfer of votes at extra matter, that if necessary, Parliament will sit on Saturday and Sunday. Now we're already talking about Monday. So please, it is very much in line of what we should all expect and cooperate and work upon. And some of these hours can be short so that we can also have time for other relevant matters which MPs, of course, must attend to. And I wish to direct so that this matter will not become a matter of any discussion whatsoever again, that 2 weeks after the registration exercise has come to an end, the Electoral Commission must send relevant representative or representatives to this honorable House and give the House a briefing, as honorable members have demanded and which honorable members deserve to have, and which is something that has got concrete precedent in the electoral history of this country. Yes, Honorable Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to bring something to your attention so that it may help in your directive that you are giving. Mr. Speaker, the briefing by the Electoral Commission is for honorable colleagues to also make inputs as stakeholders. And the registration exercise was also very key. And that is the more reason why even the meeting was demanded before the registration exercise. Now, Mr. Speaker, if we say he should come after 2 weeks after the registration exercise. The challenge is this. Even as we are sitting here today, the Electoral Commission is saying that he has not received full delivery of the machines, and because of that, there's a change. There's a change in the timetable for next week registration. So because of the change, we should go back to the constituencies.
Order. You are out of order. We are not going to debate the Electoral Commission when we don't have any concrete facts on any matter in that connection. I don't know where you've got that information you are talking about, but Parliament does not go about its business in that way. I have directed that the EC should come and brief us. If any honorable member has any issue, query, question, he or she is entitled to write to the Electoral Commission on his or her letterhead, in his or her capacity as member of Parliament, and make any queries or suggestions accordingly. If you will copy me, I'll also give appropriate support so far as the duty of parliamentarians is concerned. But at the appropriate time, and I've directed so as to circumscribe their coming, they should come within 2 weeks after. But whilst they are in the midst of this exercise, certainly they will not leave that to come and start briefings. They must come and brief. Let us wait, and when we get to the hurdle, then we jump it. Any other matter? Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity. I'm quite late. And Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the whip of the majority has indicated that sometime next week we have to add additional days,
Mondays.
particularly Mondays, to get the Public Elections Regulations 2020 instrument, verse 1 to Article 11 of the Constitution through. Mr. Speaker, you can be assured of our cooperation because that's significant and a prelude to the conduct of the presidential and parliamentary election. But my prayer is that the EC, and for that matter, the leader who laid the paper, may not have to come back to this House to withdraw the paper. And I drew the majority leader's attention yesterday at Business Committee. And my concern is...
Honorable Minority Leader, respectfully. Yes. Honorable Majority Leader, if we want to take a bite at any cherry, we must do so in accordance with the rules. That is not a matter before us, so far as the business statement is concerned.
No, Mr. Speaker, is there public elections.
Wait. The Honorable Minority Leader asked for a day to look at the relevant document before it was laid. And his approval was given for it to be laid the day after. If today the Honorable Minority Leader has any misgivings whatsoever, please adopt the appropriate parliamentary procedure and deal with that matter. I thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it's not a misgiving. I'm just drawing attention to a matter that I raised at Business Committee.
Honorable, please then resolve that matter with the Honorable Majority Leader, your colleague, in reference to a meeting I was not part of, and then at appropriate time we shall look at that. Honorable, I will not allow a commentary on that matter that you
comment on the public elections regulations for which we have to add mandates
in an angle where you raised certain things over there which you may want to follow up in any of our rules and with your colleague where necessary. So please leave that area alone now. Because I don't know how you're going to have a response and what will be the fruitfulness of any unilateral discussion on the matter. We all can go to the committee, and then when we come here, whilst a number of people who are not party to it, and the other party is not here to respond, then we start pointers in this manner. Please, at the appropriate time, you may take it up. Honourable members, the business statement as presented is accordingly admitted. Item listed for questions. And if the Honourable Minister for Roads may take the chair for his relevant Friday rigorous exercise. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Item 4, question star 743. Honourable Gbami.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, Honourable Yurichi.
the Honourable Alban Suman Gbami, the second Deputy Speaker, is far away from here. He has asked me to ask the question on his behalf.
You may do so, please. Senior Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of the Honourable Member, I wish to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the Kalio-Sankana-Tapu Road, which is under construction, will be completed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Kalio-Sankana-Tapu Road, measuring a distance of 12.50 kilometers, is part of the feeder road from Kalio through Sankana and other major communities to Nadori. It is located in the Nadori district of the Upper West region. Currently, Mr. Speaker, contract for the upgrading to bituminous surfacing of the Kalio to Sankana to Tapu Road was awarded on 9th March 2018. The works commenced on 8th May 2018 for completion on 8th November 2019, a period of 18 calendar months. Mr. Speaker, the progress of work suffered a delay during the rainy month of November 2018, when excess water from a dam close to the project site overtopped and submerged a section of the road. This caused appreciable damage to the existing road and disrupted the work. Thus, Mr. Speaker, for some months, the contractor could not get access to construct a double-cell 3x3 meter box culvert proposed to carry excess water from the dam across the road. As a result of this unforeseen situation, Mr. Speaker, the contract period had been extended by 12 calendar months. The revised completion date of the contract is therefore 8th November 2020. Progress of work is projected at 96% fiscal completion. Mr. Speaker, fiscal achievement of work done to date includes 1. Clearing of roadside vegetation of 12.50 kilometers. 2. Formation to road level of 12.50 kilometers. 3. Formation to road level
of 12.5 kilometers. Concrete U-drains, 4,112 meters. Construction of covers of different sizes, 5 in number. Laying of sub-base and base of 12.50 kilometers. Provision of primer seal and final seal of 12.075 kilometers. The outstanding work on the contract is as follows: 425 meters of primer seal and seal works, 1,500 meters of concrete curbs and road line marking and road furniture. Mr. Speaker, the contractor has raised a current interim payment certificate, IPC number 3, which is outstanding for payment. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes, Honorable Yirichi.
Mr. Speaker, before I ask the supplementary question, the background information that the Minister gave, he referred to Nadoli district. It should be Nadoli Kalio district. The name of the district is Nadoli Kalio, but you said Nadoli district. Now, the Minister is saying that the contractor has submitted a certificate for payment and is outstanding. What assurance can we get that he will be paid soon? Otherwise, we are likely to miss the date you have promised to complete the job. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank my honorable colleague for the correction of the district name. I've taken notice of it. Mr. Speaker, I did say in my answer that the project has achieved 96% completion, and the entire contract sum was a little over 11 million Ghana cedis, out of which 4.2 million Ghana cedis has already been paid. And I said the contractor has just raised a certificate for another 4.751 million cedis, and it's being processed, and it will be paid as soon as practicable with the next release of the road fund money to enable the contractor to finish work, since he is at the last stages of this project. We shall therefore facilitate it for him to finish it, for my ministry to take over. So I want to assure you that it will be paid off. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Minister, for the assurance. But if you look at part of your answer, you indicated that in November last year, the dam or dugout that is around the place stopped and slowed down the work because of the rains. This year's rains are even more serious. That is why I want to know what can be done as quickly as possible for the work to continue.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've already indicated that if the next release, the amount will be paid to enable him to complete the work. And I also indicated that the work delayed not because of the inefficiency of the contractor. The delay was occasioned by the excessive rainfall, which got the long section of the road flooded. The contractor, during the last dry season, has worked on that portion of the road and raised it to the level that is not likely to experience the overflooding again, for the area to be overtopped by the rainwater. And because the contractor is not blamable in this respect, we have extended the completion period by 12 calendar months, and the work is expected to be fully completed by 8th November this year. And the contractor is on course, and we are monitoring the progress of the work. And there's no doubt that with the remaining scope of works, the contractor will be able to deliver by this time, or perhaps even ahead of time. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Yechire, you may have
Mr.
your
Speaker, despite the assurances of the Minister of Payment, I have no indication when the next releases will be made. So can he kindly tell us when the next releases will be made, so as to avoid the delay again, which will not be caused by the contractor?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, since January this year, Road Fund has been receiving an average of 60 million Ghana cedis on monthly basis, and it has been very regular. So this payment can be scheduled for next month, August, and the remaining amount, the certificate raised, will be paid off. I can give that assurance, Mr. Speaker.
Question star 730.
Speaker, thank you. Rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when works on these roads will be completed. I hear Sidaman. I, Dobro Nsumia. I, in Sound Park Road. I, in Sound Lantern, and Vin, Lantern, Accra, Kumasi Road. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Minister, your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Ahriasi to Dambai Road, measuring 1.50 kilometers. Dobrowo to Nsumia Road, measuring 2 kilometers. Nsawam to Lantel, measuring 3 kilometers. And Lantel to Accra Kumasi Road, measuring 0.30 kilometers. All gravel surfaced and located in the Nsawam Adwajiri municipal of the Eastern region. Mr. Speaker, currently, these roads were packaged into one contract with the title Bitumen Surfacing of Dobrowo to Nsumia and others feeder roads, all together adding up to 6.80 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, the contract was awarded on 16th January 2020 and commenced on 27th March 2020. It is anticipated to be completed on 26th March 2021, a period of 12 calendar months. Progress of work, Mr. Speaker, is projected at 8% physical completion. Work executed to date include: 1. Clearing of roadside vegetation totaling 6.80 kilometers. 2. Construction of 1/1,200 millimeters pipe covers. 3 in number. 3. Construction of 1/900 millimeter pipe covers. 4 in number. 4. Construction of 900 by 900 concrete U-drain, adding up to 160 meters, and then construction of 600 by 600 concrete U-drain, adding up to 170 meters. The contract is financed by the Ghana Road Fund. The Speaker, I now take Nsawam to Accra Road. Mr. Speaker, this road is gravel surface located in Nsawam Adwajiri Municipal of the Eastern Region. Currently, contract for the bituminous surfacing of this Nsawam Pakro feeder road, measuring 14.5 kilometers, was awarded on 16 January 2020 and commenced on 27 March 2020. It is projected to be completed on 26 March 2021, a period of 12 calendar months. Progress of work is estimated at 4% fiscal completion. Work executed to date, Mr. Speaker, include: 1. Clearing of roadside vegetation covering a distance of 7 kilometers, and 2. Construction of 600 by 600 millimeter concrete U-drain, adding up to 160 meters. The contract is also financed, Mr. Speaker, by the Ghana Road Fund. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, let me commend my minister for this award. I'm reliably informed that the Ahuasidama Road was first constructed in 1960. It's refreshing that the award has been given. Now, the stage of completion of work, I see some 8% and 4% fiscal completion. I wish to find out from the minister, especially in the face of the rains, are there any interim support measures to be put in place to enable the road to be at least motorable whilst work is ongoing? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yes, naturally, rainfall, particularly if it's heavy and excessive, disturbs road construction. But contractors don't abandon site completely just because of the rainy season. All contractors, therefore, take immediate measures and remedial measures, if you like, to ensure that they maintain the roads motorable whilst construction is going on. I therefore want to assure the honorable member that as much as is normal that contractors suffer delays and disturbances whenever it rains, they also carry the responsibility to maintain the smooth driving surface of the road that they work on. And engineers from my ministry who do the monitoring, because there is no road construction without a supervising engineer, to ensure that that road is maintained until such a time that it's fully worked on to bituminous level. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Movement.
Speaker, no further follow-ups on this question.
731.
Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways what preparations are underway to construct key town roads of Nsawam, the A1 road, the Market Area Road, the American Area Road, the Ekufu Krom, the Fotobi Road, and the Dobro Gapope Road. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, no question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Nsawam, the capital town of Nsawam Adrodiri Municipal in the eastern region, is about 23 kilometers north of the national capital, Accra. Generally, the condition of the internal roads within the town is between poor and fair, except the arterial roads, which are in good condition. The road network has not received any major maintenance intervention for a long period. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no maintenance intervention, that is upgrading or rehabilitation program for the aforementioned key town roads. Mr. Speaker, but the future program is that engineering studies will be carried out in the fourth quarter of year 2020 to determine the appropriate intervention for implementation in the 2021 budget of the ministry. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honourable.
Speaker, can the Minister assure the chiefs and the good people of Nsawam Adrodiri that these particular roads will be awarded within this quarter of the year?
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Assurance.
Mr. Speaker, I indicated in my answer that we are carrying out engineering studies in the year which is in currency, 2020. And once it's programmed, we will make sure that it is done and awarded, if possible, even before the fourth quarter. So I want to assure the honourable member that we keep close eye on all scheduled works in my ministry, and this is no exception. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister.
Speaker, no further question. Thanks.
Thank you. Question star 735.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Willie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the following roads will be upgraded. 1. Potame through Agogbe to Gladisco Junction. 2. Dabala Junction through Agohome. Mr. Minister, take note of the spelling. Agohome. And through Agohome and Chiveto to Dabala, as they both serve as important detour to the main Accra, Aflao and Keta Dabala Junction highways.
Honourable Minister, your question, please.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish that my honourable colleague will pardon us with the spelling and perhaps my pronunciation that may follow. Mr. Speaker, the Kotame through Agogobe to Gladisco Junction Feeder Road is 5.3 kilometers long It is located in the southern district of the Volta region. The section from Kotame to Agogome, which is 2.1 kilometers, is engineered and in fair condition. The second section from Agogove to Gradisco Junction, measuring a distance of 3.2 kilometers, is unengineered and in a poor condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no rehabilitation or upgrading program on the road. The future for this road is that, Mr. Speaker, engineering design studies will be conducted during the third quarter of year 2020 to determine the appropriate upgrading intervention. Thereafter, the works will be programmed under the Ministry's 2021 budget. 2. Dabala Junction through Agogome and Chibito to Dabara, measuring a distance of 6.1 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, the Dabara Junction through Agogome and Chibito to Dabara feeder road is 6.10 kilometers. It is located in the southern district of the Volta region. The section from Dabara Junction to Agogome, measuring a distance of 2.4 kilometers, is gravel surface and in fair condition. The second section from Agogome through Chiveto to Dabara, measuring a distance of 3.7 kilometers, is unengineered and in a poor condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no rehabilitation or upgrading program on the road. But the future program is that, Mr. Speaker, engineering design studies would be conducted during the third quarter of year 2020 for the upgrading of the gravel surface to bituminous surface. The section between Agotime and Dabara. The road section from Dabara Junction to Agotime will also be given bituminous surface. The implementation of the works will be considered under the 2021 budget of the ministry. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, once again, let me just let me thank the Honorable Minister for this answer. But let me use this opportunity once again to correct the spelling, the misspelling here. Agogome, Agorhome, not Agotime, Agogome. And the other town is not Chivito, it's Chiveto, Chiveto. But, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Can the minister tell exactly what date in the third quarter will this exercise of carrying out engineering design studies conducted?
Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my honorable colleague for the correction. I have taken note of that. Mr. Speaker, I have indicated that the studies will be carried out within the third quarter, and the third quarter is from July up to end of September, 1st July to end of September, within it. So I cannot be specific that it will be completed at the end of July or August or September, but within the quarter, within the 3-month period, it will be done. That promise I can give, because we are doing a number of engineering studies within that quarter. the assurance I can give you is that within the quarter, this road would have been seen to and the appropriate engineering studies carried out. That assurance I can give, but I can't be specific.
Thank you very much. Honorable, you have been assured.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that wonderful and good assurance. May I ask whether you will consider once again carrying out some remedial works whilst we wait for the commencement after the engineering studies and all the other works done and budgeting done next year.
Honorable, is this within the specific roads you mentioned?
Yes, the two, both will need some remedial works. So the two, we're talking about Agogbe, Potame through Agogbe and Gladysco Junction, and then also the Tabala Junction through
Honorable
Agogbe.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in our database, these two stretches of road are considered very important considering the level of traffic on them. So as much as the rains will allow us, I can assure this Honorable House that whilst working on the road and bringing it up, developing it through all the appropriate stages of sub-base, base, and bringing it to bituminous level, the contractor has a responsibility, to make sure, if he's so appointed, that until the contractor's appointment, my ministry also has a responsibility to carry out its normal, routine, and periodic maintenance on the road. And these are important roads. So I can assure you that within the ministry's database, the normal maintenance work will be carried out to make both roads motorable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. No further question.
Thank you. Star 737, Honorable Muhammad Shaibu. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek your leave to ask the question on behalf of my
Please proceed.
The Speaker, this on behalf of the Honorable Muhammad Shaibu, MP for Daboya Mankaragu, to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when works on the construction of the bridge over the White Volta in Daboya, as provided for in the 2017 and 2018 budget statements, will commence.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Daboya is the administrative capital of North Gonja District in the Savannah region. Presently, there is no bridge over the White Volta River at Daboya, and this has created a break or gap at Daboya on the regional route R109 from Tamale through Toron to Mankarigu. There is the need to construct a bridge at Daboya to facilitate continuous movement of people, goods, and services along the road corridor to boost socio-economic activities in the area. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana has secured a loan for the construction of a bridge over the White Volta River at Daboya, including other two major bridges at Yape on the White Volta and Gupe on the Black Volta under a design and build contract. Mr. Speaker, the procurement of 300-meter span Daboya Bridge is ongoing, and engagement of an eligible contractor to execute the works has reached advanced stage. The procurement process is expected to be completed by 30th September 2020. Construction work is expected to commence in December 2020. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, just a quick
Thank you.
follow-up question to this. In the 2017 and 2018 budgets, there were cast iron commitments that it would be done, for those years. We are in 2020. What assurances can you give this House, considering the fact that it's delayed for about 3 years, that indeed your timelines for delivering on what you are telling this House today would actually be met? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think what my honorable colleague spoke about is normal. Not only Daboya, if you can refresh your memory of what was contained in 2017-18 budget proposals. 3 different and important roads had been identified in that enclave between Northern region and Savannah region. The Bupe Bridge, the Yape Bridge, and Daboya Bridge. And it was indicated that all these 3 bridges will be tackled simultaneously for a specific reason. In case of Bupe Yape, because they follow each other and they lie in the central corridor, you can't do one without the other. We also had to do Daboya because that is the surest and the shortest alternative route should we suffer any disaster, may God forbid, or any program on either Yape or Bupe bridges. That's why it was decided to deal with all the 3 together at the same time. And we had to go through the process of securing funding. And in my answer, I indicated clearly that funding has now been secured. And it has gone through cabinet, it has passed through this August House, Parliament. And as I speak, Mr. Speaker, work has started on Bupe and Yape. The contractor is on site. I had the privilege of visiting them 2 weeks ago. Work is going on. I also had the privilege of visiting Daboya also 2 weeks ago when I toured all the 5 northern regions. And I am assuring you that everything is done now. And we need Daboya as much as we need Bupe and Yape. And this government delivers whatever it promises. And work will start before the close of this year. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Star 739. Honorable Member for Pando.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to ask the Minister of Roads and Highways when work on the Kando Darfur Bridge will be completed. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, a question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Kando Darfur Bridge is one of the Belgium Government of Ghana Bridges program being implemented by the Ministry of Roads and Highways through the Department of Federal Roads. It is a 175 meter span bridge across a tributary of the Volta River on the Nozo Darfur Feeder Road. Mr. Speaker, the black there is a mistake. It's on Volta River. It's not Black Volta River. Mr. Speaker, the contract for the construction of the bridge was awarded on 31st October 2017 and works commenced on 21st December 2017. The work was expected to be completed on 21st December 2019, a period of 24 calendar months. The contractor suspended works and left the site for some period due to payment challenges. The challenges have been resolved and the contractor is mobilizing to site. Due to the quantum of the outstanding works after the suspension and the specialized nature of the bridge works, the contract period has been extended to 21st December 2020. Physical progress of work is projected at 37% complete. Currently, Mr. Speaker, works executed include 1. Construction of near bank and far bank reinforced concrete abutment walls, and 2. Completion of 1 out of 4 middle reinforced concrete piers. The bridge steel components for installation are ready and will be transported to the site. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the Minister in his answer said the physical progress of the Agbenohueda for Braid is 37% complete. Can the Minister assure the chiefs and the good people of Kwando that on the 21st December, the work will be completed and that will be our Christmas present?
7th December.
1st December. So that it will be our Christmas present for the 25th December.
Honourable Minister, Christmas parcel.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, everything is set for the completion of the work. In my answer, I was honest and faithful with my honourable member as well as the chiefs and the people of the area that work was stalled and the delay was because of payment difficulties. Now we have gotten over that. Everything is ready. The contractor is mobilizing to work now. And by Christmas time, as I have given you the assurance that it will be completed in December, we know the work schedule, and I hope that there will be no unforeseen difficulties. Otherwise, I can assure you it will be completed in December. And I will spend the Christmas there with you if you invite me to hand it over. Thank you.
Star 740.
Excuse me. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'd like to ask the Minister of Roads and Highways when the following communities in the Kwando constituency will have bridges over the rivers to be able to access their farmlands. That's Befitong and Kujira. Thank you.
Honourable Minister, your question, please.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Befi and Befitong are 2 towns located in the Kwando district of the Volta region. A 1.30 kilometer gravel road connects the two towns. The road is in poor condition. Kudra town, however, Mr. Speaker, is yet to be linked by the Department of Federal Roads Network. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no program on the road. However, there is a future program. Mr. Speaker, water crossing sessions along the road from feasibility studies will require culverts rather than bridges. Road condition survey and hydraulic design studies will be conducted on the road during the third quarter of year 2020 to determine the hydraulic capacities and sizes of culverts required for construction on the road in order to restore full access between the communities. Mr. Speaker, the intervention will be considered under the 2020 budget of the ministry. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm glad the Minister admitted that the Gefiton Road is in very poor condition. I'd like him to assure us that something will be done about it, one. And then secondly, he also admitted that the Kudra community is not on the list at all. We need a 4-kilometer road between Kudra and Sovie. Can the Minister also assure us that that will also be done? Thank you.
Honourable Minister, your question, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on both concerns, I want to assure the honourable colleague that her wishes and the wishes of the people will be done alongside the bridges as are being demanded. We are even giving you a better facility of building culverts, that can have a number of sets, and from the studies, that would be better and more preferable to what they describe as bridges. So I give you that assurance. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, with your assurances, we thank you very much for attending to the House this morning and answering our questions. You are respectfully discharged. I'm told that there's a paper to be laid by the Honourable Minister for Works and Housing.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
In the meantime, the First Deputy Speaker will take the chair.
Right Honourable Speaker.
The First Deputy Speaker will take the chair. And if Minority Whip will so allow.
Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday, during question time, my colleague from the other side requested that I tabled the audit report of AESL, and I promised him that I'll fetch the document, and with your indulgence, I'll come and table it today. So, Right Honourable Speaker, if you permit me, I want to table the document which I mentioned yesterday in relation to the country project.
You may.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much for obliging accordingly. At the commencement of public business, item listed 6, motion.
Mr. Speaker, we are not ready for item listed 6, the motion. You may step it down.
Very well, thank you. Are we ready for 7?
Mr. Speaker, the consideration of the land bill, it appears that it is only the chairman and one other member who is available to lead us in the consideration. Yesterday at the business committee, the leader of government business gave a firm assurance that we devote the whole of next week to ensure that we are able to bring a closure to the land bill, looking at the fact that many of us have to be involved in the registration exercise going on in our respective constituencies, you may adjourn the House to enable members travel to their constituencies, so that next week we come back fully prepared for the land bill. Mr. Speaker, so I move that the House be adjourned to next Tuesday, next week in the forenoon.
The Speaker,
just a moment. Because, Honorable Majority Whip, yesterday, I thought there was an understanding that we were going to spend considerable time on this particular item. So I'm a bit taken aback by this sudden development. So, Honorable Majority Whip, can you please advise us on?
Yes, Speaker, you are right. We gave indication that we will go ahead with the land bill today. Unfortunately, as I indicated, we only have the chairman of the committee, and the other members of the committee are not even available. They will have to be here to support the chairman in defending some of the proposals for changes they are making to the bill. Unfortunately, they are not. That's why I was proposing that we can take it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in the course of next week.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minority Chief, Minority Whip.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Honorable Majority Chief Whip in total, simply because today is Friday, and as usual, you came very early, so we are on time, and we've done a lot of business. It's not only the consideration of the bill. And Mr. Speaker, because of the exercise going on, members will have to go to their constituencies and, if possibly, come back on Monday to continue business on Tuesday, so that we can work on from Tuesday to Friday very well. That being the case, I do second the motion for adjournment for the House to adjourn until Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Also, the motion for
second.
Adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. This honorable House will stand adjourned till next Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I thank you very much.